and we'll get going. There we go. So yes, we're going to do a little live review today, and today's live review, because it's Prime Day, is of a Prime Day laptop. And I'm not sure if I'm going to just publish this as the video or if I may do a separate one later, but what I'll probably do is put index points in the video description after this goes up so that you can find all the different parts of this. But yeah, we're going to be looking at a laptop that is on deal, as they say. I do have to go and turn on the stream here so people can actually see it. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one, I think. So let me get my YouTube thing public here. That way people can see it. All right, there we go. So now we can get our show on the road here. So this is the ROG Strix. This is from Asus. This is their G16, the 2025 version. As you can see, it hovers thanks to its anti-gravity lighting system along the bottom here. It's got a pretty nice bright LED on there, and of course you can change the look of that. And this is kind of, I think this one's kind of in their mid-range of what they offer, because they usually have like the lower cost version called the Tough, and this is the more premium one, although I think they have like higher end ones than this one. But this is the one that's on sale, so it is just under $1,300 today. So here's the specs, and then I know people are going to ask about the specs in the middle of the stream, so I've pinned a thing in the video chat thing so people can find the specs. And if you're on Amazon, you click on the product link down below. So what do we got? This is an i7 14650HX. We've got an NVIDIA RTX 5060. We have 16 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe Gen 4 SSD. The display is 165 hertz. It is full HD plus, so I think that means it's like 1900 by 1200. Yes, so it's 1920 by 1200. So it's not the highest resolution display, but I think for what you're going to drive to it, it's going to look pretty nice. Not all that bright either. I'd put this probably, I'm looking at maybe 350, 400 nits. So it's not super bright. So there are some compromises here. I don't have the exact nits there. It is apparently using this ROG intelligent cooling. We'll see what that does for us when we do a little bit of testing later. You got the 360-degree light bar. So you got all that going. Look at that, all the way around. That's pretty cool. You can change the color, obviously. You got a keyboard that also lights up here, although it's not lit up at the moment. Maybe I'll have to figure out how to turn all this stuff on. Let's see, function, brightness up. That's the keyboard brightness. So we have to go in. It is on, it's just not very bright. So I will play with that in a little bit. So that is your keyboard. And I'll give you a little zoom out here so you can see the whole thing. It's got a huge trackpad. Very big trackpad, as you can see. So that's pretty nice. I'll get my lights better centered here. There we go. I keep banging my head into my lights when I stand up. I stand up. I do this all the time. I've had this thing overhead for years now, and I still stand up and hit my head on it every time. So yeah, so there's some mid-range compromises here, but the 5060 and the i7 I think are decent, and it's got Thunderbolt ports on it too. So let's take a look at the whole shebang here. I'm trying to get more detailed specs on all of the ports. But from what I can see, this is Thunderbolt 4 is what it's got under the hood. And let me pull up our chat so I can say hello to some folks. And I got to go into I haven't done a live stream in a while, so I'm a bit rusty here. There we go. All right, Kevin is here. It's good to see the usual stopping in. And yeah, we're gonna we'll open this up and use it with a couple of games when we get everything going. I had one, so I said, oh, may as well incorporate it. This is on deal, as we like to say in Amazon world today as well. So not a huge discount, but certainly less than its usual price. Matt Minutes is here. Good to see you. And if you want specs, check the link in the video description. That will get you over to Amazon where you get all the details. So I just did all of that. So I'm going to try to really stick to moving along here because this might be a published video. NC Strev is here. Good to see you. Yeah, we're going to check this thing out and see what makes it tick. So the first thing I want to do, actually, believe it or not, is shut it down. And the reason is that there is apparently toolless entry to get into this thing. So let's shut it down. Ooh, it lights up red when it turns itself off. That's kind of creepy. All right, so now, and we can take this thing off. For retail display, please remove adhesive tape to fold the sticker upwards. Oh, I see. This is for retail. So if we were at a retail shop, maybe when I open my shop of excess equipment, we can see what we've got there. All right, so let's flip it over here. Now, they say there's a single latch to get into this thing. So where might that be? Oh, here it is. Ooh, is that all you got to do? That's locked. Is that locked or that's not locked? Okay, so that's open. So you flick it back there to lock it, and then you flick it this way, and then apparently you can just pick it up somehow. You probably need to stick something in the... Now, where did my tools... So I had my tools out, and then I put them away a couple days ago, and now they're lost again. So we're going to have to find something to pry this open. I have a feeling you stick something in that little hole there, and that will open it up. Tyree is here. Yes, good to see you. Yeah, I haven't streamed in a while. I've been busy, and I haven't had much to really stream about. So that's been part of why you haven't seen me. I haven't really had anything exciting. It's been a rather slow. I've had things to talk about and do on the YouTube channel, but it's been kind of a slow month. So let's pull this up here. But it's Prime Day, so we got to do Prime Day stuff. And we're going to get hit with some big storms here tonight as well. Yeah, I have the green one here, and then I've got a yellow one also. So these are the new colors. Cooler King is joining us from Kentucky. Yeah, so this is I think this might be one of the only Prime Day laptops at the moment. So apparently there's this one latch, and then you can get into this thing, although I'm not sure where you get into it from. It's not there. Maybe it's underneath here, maybe? Let's see. Because there's no screws, apparently, to get into this thing. Maybe oh, look at that. Okay, so this is how it goes. So you slide it forward and then lift it up. Look at that. That's super easy. You don't need any screws to get into this thing. Okay, so internally, you have your two RAM sticks here. This one's got 16 gigabytes. It is DDR5 5600, so we got two RAM sticks in there. So you can upgrade it, obviously, but you have to swap out what you got. You've got an extra NVMe slot over here, so you can put additional storage in. So that's pretty handy. And that's pretty much it from an upgradability standpoint. That's super easy to get into it. And of course, you can swap the battery out here too. It looks fairly easy to get that battery out if you need to. That's cool. Super simple. This is what the underside looks like. So the link is in the video description. So if you click the link, it should be in the video description. Let's see. Let me make sure it's in there, because then I'll look stupid. Yeah, that link will take you over there. So that's how you get in there. So I am not in Texas. I am in Connecticut, but we're about to get a bunch of storms here in a little bit. We have a flash flood warning, and there's these isolated thunderstorms popping up all over the place. All right, so to take this off, you just do that. You know what I might do? I might record this. Although actually it might be more fun to demonstrate this if I do a review. So I'll probably come back and do that. Let me make a note of a couple things here. That's super easy to get into this thing. I like that. This one, this laptop actually feels attractive to me as a, let's see if we can get this back on. There we go. That locks it back in. Oh, I see, it locked automatically. So we do this, do that. Oh, I see. So when you pull it out, it relocks the latching mechanism. It's actually pretty cleverly designed. Then you slide it back in, and then it's good. That's pretty cool. All right. It's got a metal top. Again, this is kind of the mid-range one. Everybody's got different names now. I knew them as something else. So link is in the video description. Link is in the video description. Look at the pin chat. It's all in the video description because I can't keep repeating myself. So check it out. You can go right over to the Amazon page and you can get all of the info. All right, so we're going to plug her back in and we'll run a couple of benchmarks on it and get that going. And this is on loan from Asus, by the way. This is not a sponsored stream or anything. This is all organic. So whatever is good, and whatever's bad is not good. And we'll go through it all. And what I'll do here also is unbox our 8-bit Do controller. These just show up here. I have, there's a company called Acnes, which is a distributor for 8-bit Do stuff. And they just send me like stuff all the time. And I review a lot of it because I like the 8-bit Do stuff. But they're not sponsoring this either. But these are really cool controllers. This one has TMR sticks, which are like Hall effect sticks. So they've got a very nice feel to them. And Bill is joining us from the UK, and Handheld Obsession is joining us as well. Good to see everybody who I haven't seen in a while. And it's my fault because I have not been streaming lately for no reason other than I just haven't had anything. I haven't had like a block of time in which to stream. And I like to stream things that are searchable on Amazon because I can stream on Amazon too. And we'll get this undone here. So these are kind of elegant. So this is the base. So this will charge your thing here too. And what's cool is that the dongle is built into this. So if I open this up, as you can see here, it says there's no need to take this out. So when the dongle is in here, when you plug this into the computer, the dongle works. But you can also take it out. And look, they've moved over to a USB-C plug now. So you can plug this in directly, or you leave it in the base unit here. And there are two different versions of this. This is the one for PC and Android. And there's also one for the Switch. And it'll work with the Switch too, but they're not interchangeable. So in the old days, this would work with the Switch and the PC. Now the Switch one has its own version. So you have to get the right one. And then also in the box, we've got a cable for connecting it. And the cable here is a USB-A to USB-C. So I'll plug it into one of the USB-A ports on here. Now, I forgot to talk about the ports on the laptop, so why don't we do that real quick. So port-wise, we have, let me see if I can get a better view here. Okay, so we've got gigabit Ethernet, HDMI out. This looks like a USB 2, this is a 3, let me see what it says there. A 10 gigabit, okay, so 10 gigabit per second USB-A. You have Thunderbolt. I don't know if this one is Thunderbolt or not, because there's only one of these has a Thunderbolt icon next to it. So that I'm going to have to research. But it's good that it has Thunderbolt. And because it has Thunderbolt, this is a very good potential, actually I can tell you right off the gate without any real testing, that this is actually a really good machine for video production. So I run, the software I use for this stream and all my recording is vMix. And vMix loves computers with NVIDIA GPUs and Intel processors. And if you have a Thunderbolt port, you can get a Thunderbolt box where you can take a PCI Express capture card, put it in the Thunderbolt box, connect it to the laptop, and now you can bring in 4 or more sometimes HDMI sources at 4K 60, believe it or not, and run them through your vMix on this thing. So it's got some real potential. So I run my production off of a desktop computer, but the same card that I use in the desktop could be put into one of those Thunderbolt boxes, connected to this over Thunderbolt, and you've got the same functionality. It's really cool. On this side, we got 2 10 gigabit per second USB-As. So from a functionality, port functionality standpoint, I think this is pretty good. Yeah, and you've got this this wraparound lighting here, all the way around. It's pretty wild. Yeah, the base is a little thick. It is a little on the big side. I think their selling point here is that this thing can cool itself off really well. So if you have some patience, we could run the 3D Mark stress test on it and see how it does. Norman Tucker is here. NJS is here. Hope everybody is doing well today. And my lights flicker because whenever the air conditioning comes on, it hits my. I gotta deal with that. We had a pretty nasty localized storm run through here. It knocked power out for the neighborhood like all weekend. We had trees coming down everywhere. I had one branch from this tree. It was like a javelin. We weren't home, but it went. Somehow it's like those bullets that miss all the critical organs. This thing was firing off at the house. It missed everything, and where it settled was right underneath the electrical line for my air conditioning compressor outside. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, the lighting is excessive. That's the one thing. Like, a lot of the other gaming laptops, this one included, they're all obnoxiously bright with all this stuff, and this one's no exception. You can turn the light off, obviously, and it'll be a little more subdued. But at least it's not like this color. Like your game controller can be this color, but not everything else. All right, why don't we connect up the game controller here? I'll just use this one just to get it going, get this thing charging. And then we'll have a controller connected too. So you can connect the controller directly, or you can run it through its base wirelessly, whichever you want to choose. I usually like to plug my controllers in directly whenever possible, but one of our Amazon viewers says, it's been a while since I bought a laptop. How big of an upgrade is this over a Voodoo Envy? So are we talking about like the Voodoo 3D FX from like the 90s? Is that what we're talking about? So it's pretty wild. Yeah, this will be a big jump over the 90s for sure. Like, this has got a 5060 inside. Actually, believe it or not, I'm in Connecticut. So we get these crazy storms around here. And I'm at the top of a hill, so whenever the wind is really blowing, we get some good wind over here. But this was like one of these localized supercells. And it just came in. It was all of like 5 minutes, just a blast of wind. We lost. I was out with my daughter. We were coming back from dinner, so we weren't even home when all this happened. And we couldn't get back to the house. Our 2 different routes were blocked by trees down across the street. It's pretty wild. Okay, so why don't we go into? Let's run a quick benchmark on here and get a feel for everything. Now, what I've done with this laptop is I've put this into turbo mode, which is the highest performing mode. And so far I haven't stressed it yet, so I'm eager to see how much noise it makes when the fan is going. So right now it's running at about a quarter or so of its full speed, or a third of its full speed, for the fan noise at least. So let's see how it does. So we'll just wait for 3D Mark to load up here. So James is looking for soft start boxes. I gotta look those up. I need to get that too. So that's probably what I'm dealing with the lights flickering. Yeah, because my whole house gets like, and we were running on generator for a portion of the weekend, and it was getting crazy in the house a little bit with that. Generator handles it, but it's like, ooh. All right, we're just waiting for this to load up here. Yeah, you know what's funny? Mobile games have never really caught up, right? You can get some great games on PC, on the Steam Deck, and these phones are just as powerful, if not more so. Not as powerful as this, of course. On this one, we got the 5060. And it's funny. I went to CES, and I went to a couple of different events, and I went to one of them was an event that NVIDIA was at, and they were talking about this new 5000 series of GPUs that are now, of course, in these products. And it's interesting that we've gone from the card and its raw rendering power to now it's about frame generation. So that the card is still rendering, but the AI is filling in the gaps of the frame in between frames. So you get these generated frames. It doesn't look like it's generated by AI, but it's basically, I don't think it's a crutch, but the cards are not as powerful as they used to be. Okay, it says NVIDIA Optimus, so now it just initialized the GPU. So that's a good sign that we're running off the GPU here. I'm enjoying my afternoon coffee. We used to do these streams a lot when we were all locked up. It was a lot of fun because I had a lot of stuff coming in, especially for... Oh, you know what? Handheld. I was going to ask you about some flight sim stuff. So I am... Let's see, how many hours am I into now? I am at the... Let me check my logbook. So I have 26.7 hours of flight experience now, so I'm getting there. I'm getting very good with my traffic patterns, maintaining level flight, navigation, radio calls. I'm doing pretty well across the board. Landing, I'm still like the flare I'm having trouble with, but I'm getting there on landing too. I haven't had the same wind twice since I've been out doing landing practices. But I was curious what flight yokes and rudder pedals you're using, because the ones I have are older ones, and I'm not crazy about them. But I found that the Microsoft Flight Sim VR mode is really good for visual practice. Like I'm amazed by how close to real the visuals look on that. Not only just the terrain and the surroundings, but the cockpit and gauges and sight picture, all of that. It's amazing how good it is. All right, let's go. So you know what we'll do is we'll start off with my usual one, and this is an older benchmark, but I run it on everything, so it's a good apples to apples. Well, that's good to hear. My flight instructor is telling me the same thing, that it took him a long time to get landings down. Because it's very dynamic. And what's happening with me is I'm getting into ground effect, and I'm getting impatient, and I'm talking like fractions of seconds or a second or so, and I keep pulling it out of ground effect, and that's been throwing me off. I had two really good landings on my last lesson, and we were going to go up this week. We've had some weather, so I think I might be close to figuring it out, but it's tough. I'm in a Piper 140 it's got a 160 horsepower engine. And those things love to sink too, so you've got to deal with that. So sometimes I'm like sinking a little too low right when I'm about to cross the threshold, so I'm putting a little more power in, and that's increasing the speed. Yeah, it's got to keep practicing. Just got to get the reps in. The problem is those reps are expensive. It costs. These planes are a lot to fly, so I'm limited. I could go boot camp it for like a 2-week stretch and get it, but. And what I'm doing right now is just installing the benchmark here. Oh, you know what? I don't have a connection. I gotta get it connected to my Wi-Fi. Hang on. I'll plug it into my network here. It was not on the network. Hey, no worries. I haven't been streaming all that much either, so that's why. But thanks for joining us. All right, so we'll get that benchmark installed, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I can tell you, Well, I would say it's invaluable once you have some real experience, because it's easy to pick up bad habits, or it's easy to try to do things and get frustrated in the sim. Because one of the things that I've learned, and by the way, this has its own like really neat light on the bottom there. One of the things I've learned is that your traffic pattern and how you approach the airfield is critical to your landing. So your landing success is really determined on how good your pattern is to get to that point. It's really crazy. We had an Archer 180. Yeah, so it's a good plane. It's very forgiving. It is brutal up here right now. I'm inside. It's about 90 degrees outside right now, and it's humid as you know what. James says CFI landing is the most important. Takeoff is second. Navigation third. We are CFI too. Wow. Yeah, landing I would agree is very important. My takeoffs, I finally got the takeoff kind of figured out. I was having a hard time with takeoffs. And I think too, it's like the plane just doesn't go up when you pull back. You got to kind of coax it up. So there's a little nuance to that too. And that's one thing I like about flight training. There's a lot of math and things to learn, ground school kind of stuff, but a lot of it's hands-on, which I really like. They just get you in the plane and you just start doing it. So that's been fun. And I take off from this little airport. If any of the pilots are watching, the little airport I fly out of is Goodspeed in East Haddam, Connecticut. The designator is 42 Bravo, 42B, and it's a really cool little airport. It's right on the bank of the Connecticut River. Has no tower, nor does it have any ATIS or anything else. So you're at sea level. So you just set your your barometer until it reads 0, and you're set. Nice short little runway. I think it's like 2,200 feet. It's not very wide. And on your pattern on the way in, you're on the other side of a hill, so you can't even see the runway. You have to look for landmarks on the ground to know when to turn base onto the runway. But what's really cool is that one approach, I think it's runway 14. Yeah, 14. When you come around, you have a bridge and power lines, so you have to go over the bridge and then come in. So most of the time, you're just idle gliding in. It's really cool. You just push it to idle, you get the right pitch, you're at the right speed, 75 miles per hour right down, and it's pretty cool. And that's right, planes do fly when they're ready. Yeah, my rotation speed is, so my plane has miles per hour and not knots on its instruments. And the takeoff rotation speed is about 60 miles per hour. And I struggled initially with like not pulling back enough and then pulling back a little too much. The good thing is I also don't have a stall horn. It's just a light in that plane. So the good thing is, at least, is that I've got the instinct to push it back down when I see the stall light come on. So I'm getting there. My takeoffs are actually improving much faster than my landings are improving, but I'm getting there. I got a good instructor, and what he's trying to do with me is he's there to make sure I don't kill us, but he's really pushing me to be the pilot in command. So he's trying to be as I'm progressing now past the 25-hour mark. He really wants to get me in that PIC mindset where I don't have to wait for some instruction. I need to just fly the plane. Yeah, I've been getting, I'm actually fortunate. We have a nice non-towered airport not far from where I take off from. It's about a 15-minute quick hop over. And what's nice about it is that it's not a short field, but it's not terribly long. It's got some challenges in the, on the way in, but it's a nice pattern because you can see the airfield the whole way around, and it's just it's a great runway to practice on. So we do we go up, we do maneuvers, and then we fly over there and spend an hour or so just taking off and landing. They got fuel there, so we fuel up. Thank you for the kind words. Yep, you know, my approach has been slow and steady. And it's been slow and steady for 12 years, so that's what I do. But that's a good point, James. It does seem to fly better when it's ready, as opposed to me trying to force it off the ground. My first, I did a discovery flight years ago in a Cessna, and that one just kind of lifted off on its own. At least that's what it felt like. So the Pipers are a little different, I think. Travis Cunningham is here. Yeah, I may pick up a few of those NVMEs. The 4 terabytes were not as I'm waiting for like a 149 price. So I have a lot of data to squeeze onto those things. But that little B-Link is working pretty well. Yeah, I have a great instructor. He's relatively new to instructing. I think I was his first student, but he's very good. Very patient and very firm about not screwing up. But what's been good is that he's at least as far as he's concerned, I'm making progress, which is good. Because some days I don't feel like it, but it's funny though when things click. Like for example, I had a real hard time taxiing. I was really struggling with that, and then it just clicks, and then you're on to the next thing, right? So, all right, we're getting there. So what we're doing right now is we're running a benchmark. This is the TimeSpy benchmark. I run this on every laptop that I review. In fact, I've been running this benchmark for over a decade. So I've got a huge database of performance. So it's fun to see how things improve over time or not. And it's also really helpful for comparing, one generation to the next. So let's take a look here. We'll load up my results. So last year, I think we got one more test. This is the CPU one. So this will be good because I've got a lot of comparatives here. And if you if you want to follow along on the score that this is going to give to us in a second, if you go to Lon.TV/benchmarks, you can pull up my spreadsheet and look for the 3D Mark TimeSpy tab at the bottom. All right, so we are done. So now let's pull up the score. So my gaming PC upstairs with a 3080 and an i9 9900K is still outperforming the laptops, which is good. So usually what happens is I upgrade my PC when the laptops that I'm reviewing exceed its performance. But so far, the score, at least on a raw score number here, is we're still good. So this got 12,960. And this is the Asus ROG, what do they call this one? Strix 16, I think. And this has got an RTX 5060. And let me pull up my specs here. And an i7 14650HX. I suspect that we're going to see better GPU performance than I have on other ones here. So let me just look at my numbers. This is the Strix G16 2025. Let's call it that. Okay, so 12,960. So let me put it in the right spot here. So of interest, and I think it might be the processor. Last year we looked at the Asus TUF A16. That came in on Prime Day last year. I always have Asus send me stuff. They like me because I don't charge people for these live streams. I just like to review products. So this is on loan from them. This goes back to them when I'm done. So they sent us a couple of laptops last year, and the TUF Gaming actually had a higher score. But I think when we look at the individual results here, No, actually not. So this was 81.79 FPS, 70.91 FPS, and 56.64 FPS. So graphically, it actually is, with the 5060, well, the other one was a 4070, so that might be why. So the 4070 had a little bit more horsepower, so it got slightly better results, but the CPU on this one is much stronger than the Ryzen that was in that Asus. Now, my current gaming laptop, I have a Lenovo Legion 5 Pro, so it does do better than my current laptop. And again, what I like about this one is it's got the Thunderbolt, so for video production, it's going to be more useful. But I think the 5070s might do a little better. Yeah, training's a lot. My flight instructor, I've had a couple. I have a little school of flight instructors that I work with. My primary one is the one I was referring to, but my other one, the one I started with, she said to me, she goes, if you want to be a millionaire in aviation, start with 2 million, right? Everything's expensive. And yeah, my MacBook Air, I've got the M2. You must have like the M4. My M2 MacBook Air is amazing. I use that as my daily driver. I use it more than my MacBook Pro just because it's convenient, lightweight, fanless. Thing's amazing, and it does everything I need it to do. It's incredible. Wow, James, you had your first flight at Kitty Hawk. That's awesome. That was in 1984. Yeah, you know what's funny is when I I've been flying. I've got all this. I have all these avionics, and we don't have like super advanced avionics, but we have GPS. It ties into all the instruments, so there's a lot of extra help that I get, especially for navigation. And I've got ForeFlight on the iPad and all that stuff. Like it was a different world flying truly visually and with compass headings, right? And you had to have your charts on paper. My instructor's like, I don't know how people did it before we had all this stuff. All right, so that's our first benchmark. I have not talked about anything else other than aviation. That's it. And the controller, yes, I did talk about the controller. Yeah, I think once I get there, I want to punch my first ticket, and I'll probably get a plane, and maybe I'll share it with somebody. But that'll be the goal. I just want to get a plane that I could actually fit the family in. Although my wife has indicated she's not eager to set foot in it. All right, next one we're going to do is we're going to run the wildlife benchmark because I run that one all the time too. And this one actually has 2 iterations. So, oh great, thank you, I appreciate that. Are you coming to Retro World Expo this year? I'm going to be there, maybe. I think it's in September. I'll probably jump up for that. Yeah, sometimes, being patient makes a big difference, doesn't it? It sure does. Okay, so we're going to run the Wildlife Extreme test. So why don't we do that real quick? And this is the extreme version, which is the higher end of the 2. Yeah, I almost pulled the trigger on a honeycomb set, but what I'm going to do, because I need to upgrade my gaming laptop. I need something with Thunderbolt. So I might get like a higher end. I got to look around at the sales this week. Get like a higher end 5070 or something, and have that laptop set up somewhere so I can do the sim stuff. Because right now I've got my desktop PC upstairs. I got to take all the sim stuff down and then put it back up when I've been doing the VR. So it'd be more convenient to have like a station set up where I can chair fly without having to always reconfigure everything. I've got room down here, but my office is a total disaster. It's not quite a hoarding situation, but I got more stuff I got to get rid of. It's been piling up. All right, so this test is the Wildlife Extreme test. And then we'll play some games. That's what we're here for. It's running at about 140 frames per second here. The display looks pretty nice. It's not the brightest thing, but... Hey, Frank Cromer is here. Yeah, actually, I have not been live streaming. I was just checking. I think my last stream was like back in March, maybe? So I gotta do more streaming. I haven't had much... I like to stream things that are available on Amazon, so if it's not something that's sold on Amazon, I don't jump in as often as I'd like to. Okay. That's a pretty high score. Hey, Geekazine, good to see you, my friend. He wants some games. I like the logo. That's new. Everybody's got new thumbnails. I gotta improve my avatar. Okay, so Wildlife Extreme. And by the way, this came in on loan from Asus, so this goes back to them when we're done with whatever I'm doing here. Okay, so this is the Asus ROG Strix 16. This has the i7 4650HX. I just screwed this up. Hang on one second. I'm just putting stuff into my my spreadsheet here. Because if I do end up reviewing this, it's good to have the data. This is an i7 14th generation i7 14650HX and a 5060. And our extreme score came in at 22,794, 136.49 FPS. So this is like definitely not as quick as my gaming PC upstairs. With the 3080, it gets about 217 frames per second or so. That's a desktop 3080 on a much beefier processor or more cores. But it's not bad. And it's only got like a 1920 by 1200 display, so you get what you get. Okay, so why don't we play some games here? So let's close out of 3D Mark. And maybe we'll catch up on my No Man's Sky situations. Let me get this controller booted up here first. So the controller lights up too. So it's cool. Another thing, oh, this is kind of a new feature. I didn't see this before. They also have locks for the triggers. So it turns them into digital triggers. So Frank Cromer, I took my portable Meshtastic thing with me to New York City two or 3 weeks ago. And I picked up a lot of stuff, but I didn't actually have any conversations. All right, let's get No Man's Sky going here. I may have to jump in and adjust the settings on it when it loads. All right, it is launching. And one thing I love about Steam is the cloud setup. So you get all your games synced up. So if I jump over to my Steam Deck or I go on GeForce Now, everything just syncs up. And I think they now have cross-platform syncing now in No Man's Sky. That was weird. Okay. So here's the controller. So why don't we set the display up first? Well, that's weird. So check it out. When I move the controller, it's got like a little bit of interference maybe. That's wild. Oh, look at that. So the opposite stick's color changes. They must have revved this controller because I don't remember this from before. Isn't that cool? All right, so display and graphics. So I'm going to run it at the native resolution of the display. And right now it's got everything set to high. So let's see what we get for frame rate with that. And let me go into the, I want to put the frame rate thing on. Okay. You also have it show the FPS. All right. I boot up Flight Simulator on here, but it'll take like 12 years for everything to get loaded in. So we won't do that. Yeah, so Frank, I think what you're seeing with Meshtastic is exactly that. Like people come, it happens to me all the time also. Like somebody flies their plane overhead and you get like a ton of nodes. I have not taken mine up on the plane yet, but I suspect that would be what would happen. All right, so right now we're running at the native resolution of the display. We got to let everything settle down here. Frame rate's about 60. Which isn't bad. But you know what's been good is the fan noise on this is not very loud. I'm going to turn the volume off here and see if... yeah, I'm actually surprised by how quiet this is. I mean, there's definitely some fan going, but it's not super obnoxious. It's not the wind tunnel. So not bad. So I have quite the battle fleet. So I can summon the fleet. Let me go out in space here a little bit. I go through like different like kicks with this game. So I'll play for a while. Oh, you know what it is? The frame rate is tapped out. Let me adjust that also. But I'll call my ship over here first. Here's my capital ship. I have like a whole fleet. So you'll see the rest of the fleet come in here. Isn't that cool? I've been slowly building up my battle fleet. I've got like all these ships. So this is like my main ship, and then I've got all these other ones here that come around with me. So why don't we go into display and graphics. So that's why we're only maxed at 60, because I was left it there. So this is a 165 hertz display, so I'm going to set it to 165. Oops. And right now everything's on high. And I'm pretty sure this supports, yeah, so this is not even set on DLSS. So we'll put it on DLSS and end on high. We may have to restart. Let's see. Nope. All right, there we go. So let me get the stats back up again. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so now it's running at like 160 frames per second. So that's pretty good. Now what I can do is go back to a planet now and see if and see what it looks like on the surface. Why don't we do that real quick here? Then I'll show you my battle station. But you know, there's sometimes an advantage to having a lower resolution display, because right now we're running native here and at high settings and getting some really good performance out of it. So Basic Pixel, this is Thunderbolt 4. I was hoping it had 5 because I really wanted to do some testing with Thunderbolt 5. I've yet to get a Thunderbolt 5 machine in for review, so one day. I do not have a Twitch channel. I don't think people would like to see me playing games all day. Maybe they would, I don't know. So this is a good question. So in my day, graphics trumped everything, including frame rate. So I look at some of the computer games that I used to drool over as a kid, and you play them now and they're like horrible. So right now we're on the surface of the planet here. This is where it usually gets stressed the most. I'm going to turn the speakers off here. So the fan is definitely louder now than it was, but it's not obnoxiously loud for a gaming laptop. So the fan noise is not bad here. Frame rate is at high settings, 1920 by 1200. We're at about 145 frames per second. So what I might do is push this up to ultra settings and see what we can get out of it. Isn't this the coolest game, though? I can show you my base. I think I'm in my system. Let me see what system I'm in. So I'm going to do this one. No, I'm not in my system. So we'll go, we'll warp to my home system real quick here. It seems to be going pretty nicely here. What I love about this game is that it's so expansive. They keep updating it all the time. So that's been nice. And what we'll do is we'll go over to the space station here. And then on the space station, we can find a Stargate. So James, as your father you and your father bought a Cessna 172 steam gauges. Awesome. Ha. That's cool. Yeah, my plane is the one I'm flying is a 1978 maybe. So I'm a little bit older than the plane, not much, but the engine's relatively new. So this one screenhouse is definitely marked down, not up. And I think I checked I got this new tool that that Amazon does now. I think consumers can see it also, which will tell you the lower price. I think this one might have been added to Amazon specifically for Prime Day because it doesn't have a lot of reviews. All right, let's go find the entrance to the space station here. And what we'll do is we'll go to my home planet and we'll check it out. And Frank Cromer's working on a solar-powered mesh tastic. I may do that eventually too. What I'm learning is that you need a lot of these nodes set up to really make it work in an area. Thank you for the kind words, Carlos. Yep, got to keep cranking it out. Yeah, now what's going to happen with the Fire Sticks is that they're moving to their own operating system, so they're ditching Android. That's happening soon. So I'm eager to see what that's going to look like when they do it. All right, so where's the Stargate? That's the map. Let's go find the Stargate. Yeah, so in here we're getting 164 frames per second. So we can drive this display at its native resolution at 1920 by 1200. And what we'll do here is we'll go to my other planet first, and then we'll go to my other one. So I got to pick up some money. So I have a mining operation on this really toxic planet. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So fan noise isn't bad. I have not run the stress test. The stress test that I've run takes a while, so I don't want to bore everybody with that. But I will run that. I'll probably review this laptop actually. It's got enough qualities that make it work here for me. And we'll drop that into my exosuit. So what I've got here is I built this mining base, but the planet is like super toxic, so you can see like how awful this planet is. But what it has is activated indium, and all these are tanks, and then I've got these mining drilling units here, and they extract the stuff. Now here we've got a little bit more complexity, so we're doing about 120 frames per second over here. And the fans are definitely getting louder now. They're not, I will say they're much lower in volume than many of these gaming laptops tend to be, so that's been good. It's noticeably less noticeable, if that makes sense. All right, so now we're going to go to my main base, which is on a much nicer planet. Yeah, I think I just saw Heltech had something like that. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, they always liquidate, right? But my understanding is that the existing Android Fire Sticks are going to be, when they get their update, they're going to have this new OS on it. That's what I understand. That's my understanding. Okay, so here we are at high settings. My home planet's actually a really good place to try out all this stuff. So it looks pretty good. By the way, this game has a VR mode. It's amazing. It's so cool. All right, so we're going to go over here, and we're going to adjust the graphics again. So we're going to leave the resolution the same. What I'm going to do, though, is move everything over to Ultra. And let's see what that does to the frame rate. So we were at about 120 or so before I do this. And we have to restart the game to make that work. Okay, so we'll go ahead and quit. And we'll restart. And we'll see what that does to it. So that's a big transition for them. If they're going to support all of this. So I guess they're not going to upgrade the existing ones? I guess that would be problematic, right, for consumers who don't have a lot of savvy with this stuff. All right, so now we are at the Ultra settings. So let's load up my save game here. That's also true, isn't it? ATSC 3 stuff, don't get me started on that. What a mess. So Frank is using a rack whiz block and a cheap $10 solar light from Lowe's. That's pretty cool. All right, so now we are at the Ultra settings. And remember, we're at the native resolution of the display. We are at 108 frames per second. The display supports G-Sync, so it's pretty smooth. I'm not seeing any tearing. Actually, it looks pretty good. It's a little laggy. And what's interesting is the GPU now is close to 100% utilization. So this is about the limit. This is the limit. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of stutter, but not a lot. But yeah, that GPU is max now. So let's take a look on my base here. We'll go walk around a little bit. Is there a tree growing in the middle of my... So that's the only problem with this game, is there is some glitchiness with things like that. Okay, so now I have these little teleporters. Check this out. So I can go in here, and now I am underwater. I've got this underwater aquarium kind of thing here. And usually there's fish flying around, but not today. And we'll go down a little bit lower. All right, so now we're in, oops. Is this the lower level? Yeah. So now we're in the lower level. Oh, no, we're not. one more level to go. There we go. So I got some stuff growing through here. We got to get rid of this stuff. Isn't that neat? In VR, this is so cool. Like, you can just chill out underwater in my own little aquarium. Then I can jump out this little portal here, and I'm swimming. So you can see the base here. So that's my underwater tunnel system that I got set up here. Is this cool? This is what I do in the winter. Actually, what happened was I was just using my I think I built most of this on my Steam Deck because I was putting kids to bed or whatever. Like, wait for them to fall asleep, and you just kind of poke around in your base. Got to take care of that tree now. It'd be nice for them to fix some of this stuff because, like, a tree would not naturally grow through solid objects like that. But there you go. Yeah, so now we're at about 105. Yeah, so the frame rate here is pretty good. This game is certainly more GPU intensive. Yeah, so this in VR is like totally amazing because you really get a sense of scale. And, you know, if you put yourself at this guy's level, like, you can look up and it looks like a big building. It's so cool how it all, you know, the trees look huge. It's really neat. And of course, it's all three-dimensional. You have that full immersion. All right, so that's No Man's Sky. So we can run this at Ultra. Let me put this in my notes. Okay, so let's put that in there. All right, so let's take a look at Cyberpunk. So we will journey from a simulated universe to some steampunk. Not steampunk, cyberpunk. Did you hear that they're making the movie Neuromancer is coming out, or the book Neuromancer is being turned into a series on Apple TV+. That's exciting. All right, so let's see how Cyberpunk fares. Yeah, so this is like a long, the Prime Day is like the whole week. It used to be, what, 2 days? Now it's 4? So it goes till Friday, I think. Yeah, I'm really excited for Neuromancer. I need to read the book again. I read it when I was in high school, I think. And actually, I remember, so I had so this is a fun, interesting story. I had the book, but I didn't know what the book was. I got the game for my Apple IIgs. Somebody gave me a copy of it. It was, Neuromancer was on the IIgs, and I was fascinated with the whole game. It was Interplay made the game. I got to revisit the game, too. It was a really good game. And it got me interested in the book. And I had learned of the book on bulletin board systems because people on FidoNet were talking about it. So, because it kind of defined this whole cyberpunk genre. I don't think he invented it, William Gibson, but I'm pretty sure, like, Neuromancer was what kind of made it part of the vernacular. But it's a fascinating story. And I remember, you know, back then you had to go to the bookstore to buy a book. So we went to the local bookstore, and they didn't have it, but they ordered it for us. And then we had to wait a couple of weeks for it to come in. It's funny how long it took to get stuff back then. That's right, Season 3 of Foundation. If you watch my video, I have like my Plex watch list now. I can generate a little list of shows and when they're airing again. So I'm tracking all of it. I think actually Foundation and Star Trek Strange New Worlds are both in the same week. It's going to be a good week for sci-fi for me. I've been watching this other, I think Apple TV actually has the best sci-fi right now. They really put a lot of money into it, and it's good stuff. I've been watching Murderbot. I'm watching it, but it's just like, well, I'll see where this goes, but I haven't been as enthused about Murderbot. It's got a lot of big budget, but yeah, so Strange New Worlds is on the 17th. Foundation's on the 11th. The new Dexter show is on the 13th. It's funny, we're getting a lot of shows in the summer, right? It used to be, you had to wait till the fall to get any good TV. All right, so why don't we go in and look at settings now. And we'll make some adjustments. So let's go over to graphics. So right now it's set to ray tracing low, which is like a preset. So maybe we try this and see what we get. So let's run the benchmark. So we'll run the Cyberpunk benchmark here at its default setting of ray tracing low. And I'm assuming that was what got sent. Got set. So let's see what we get. But remember, these frame rates now are kind of being supplemented by these generated frames, right? So that's part of the deal. All right, so right now we're getting 93 frames per second. It's actually pretty good. We might be able to crank this up a little bit higher. And I need to double check the resolution. I think it's set to the native resolution. It looks like it is. And here's the outdoor scene. I may record some B-roll on this. I should have been recording B-roll all along. I'll come back to the other one. Let's go make a new folder here. This is Asus ROG. So I may run this test again just to get the test on there. All right, so 98.93 frames per second. And that's kind of at the default settings that it set itself to. Just going to do a quick recording there just to have that. I'm just going to run this again. And I keep getting bitten by bugs on the back of my neck. I take my dog out for a walk. These bugs come out of nowhere. They just attack you. And they keep biting my neck. Like every day I get a different bite on the back of my neck. If I didn't know any better, I'm thinking they're like targeting me. And I think the NVIDIA app can set some settings for me too. Let's see what we have this set at. Okay, so we're at 1920 by 1200. So that was the ray tracing low. So I'm just going to record this again because I didn't record it the first time. And I want to get a good sample. And then we'll load the game up and actually play it and see what we get. I have not played this game other than running the benchmark. That's been the extent of my gameplay here. So I'm going to be streaming all week likely. So if you don't follow me on Amazon already, hit the follow button. We'll see how we do traffic-wise. I usually have better audiences. You're a great audience. I mean, larger audiences on Amazon. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I just don't know what's going on. Like they're short episodes. I don't know. Oh, I'm recording. I'm putting graphics over my. The episodes are short. I'm not crazy about the characters. it's supposed to be funny, but it's not all that funny. There's been some moments that I thought were pretty fun, but yeah, I'm watching it just to see it through. I kind of feel like I have to finish watching it to see it through. All right. So there you go. So that is the ray tracing settings. And you know what I'm curious about? Let me just pop into the NVIDIA app and see if it can do anything to... I'm assuming what I've got for settings was set by the game. But I'm curious if there's any tweaks that might get us a little further along. Let's take a look. Yeah, so there is a limit of video memory on this. So why don't we look at that real quick? Yeah, that was one of the moments, Victor Echo 5, I thought was was entertaining, because that was unexpected. Yeah, it's a weird show. It's really weird. Like, I almost feel like the writing should be better for the amount of money they spent on it. I don't know if it's the writing or just the story, but it just seems like, I don't know. I'm not digging the characters. I don't like the characters. I don't like any of them. I think maybe the older woman, I don't even know their names. It shows you how much of the show is really sticking with me. Like the character I like the best is the older woman. Murderbot is entertaining because I think it's funny. He's got this connection to that TV show that he keeps talking about. All right, so let's see what we have for my rig. So let's open up the control panel here. Yeah, so you got 8 gigs of dedicated video memory. So that is definitely a limiting factor. Okay, so Cyberpunk is optimized. So I think if we go back in, and we did not optimize No Man's Sky because we adjusted the settings ourselves. But that's where it stuck us here, is right in that zone. All right, cool. So why don't we go back in and take a look at Cyberpunk. That is something I have to catch up on. The other thing, I think I tweeted about this the other day, or whatever the Xing it, posted perhaps. I never, when it came out, I never watched Mr. Robot, and I finally got around to watching it last night. It's on Netflix now, so that was part of the motivator. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I forgot what the name of the show that he watches all the time. But I just watched the first episode, the very first, the pilot of Mr. Robot, and I was really impressed. And I was like, why have I not watched this sooner? Because it came out 10 years ago. And I probably didn't watch it because my daughter was 2, and I was about to have another kid, so I was in a different stage of life. Couldn't go hide and watch TV. And my wife doesn't usually like the shows that I watch, so it's hard to get time sometimes to watch things that I want to watch. Okay, so now we're on, so it did change the settings. And this is now the NVIDIA app settings. So I'm just going to run the benchmark again and see what it's going to give us. See, now, okay, so it doesn't look as good, but now it's running at like 260 frames per second. The GPU is still maxing out, but the frame rate's a lot better. Although I don't think it's doing as much ray tracing as it was before. We'll see what the lighting looks like when it goes outside. Or it could be doing a lot of AI stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's cranking away here at 260. Yeah, I think it looked better before. Like there was a lot more natural light. I think it's doing less ray tracing. I almost preferred. Oh, I guess it's close. I seem to remember preferring it looking better before, but certainly running faster. Oh, so it's probably doing resolution scaling too. That's probably why. So I bet you if I turn resolution scaling off. Oh, and ray tracing was off. I thought so. This is the thing, right? Like, yes, you can get it running that fast. Oh, you know what, Michael? I'm going to talk about something related to this because I've been following the Stop Killing Games thing a bit, and I went back because I was like, geez, I've been buying games digitally for 20-something years. And so over the weekend, I said, let me boot up my old Xbox 360 and see if the games that I bought for that are still available. And sure enough, they are. Some of the games are not. I guess you can't buy anything new on the 360, but anything that you bought on the 360, you can download again. And I went back to the very first game that I bought on the 360 20 years ago, and I was able to download it and play it. But the interface isn't great because you don't have a list anywhere. You got to go dig into this interface. But I then went to my iPhone library because when the App Store came out, remember, it was a fun time because everybody was experimenting with games and what the prices should be. So there were some games that were like, good games for like $5 at 99 cents. Remember that? And you bought the full game. So get this, and there's a bunch of them, but the most expensive game I bought when the App Store first launched around 2008, 2009 was SimCity by Electronic Arts. They had a full version of SimCity that ran on your iPhone. It was actually pretty good. And that game is no longer available, even if you purchased it, which I did. So it shows up on my list of games that I own, but I can't download it because they never updated it for more recent versions of iOS. So it's completely inaccessible. And there's a bunch of games on my list that fall into that trap. So we're going to explore that in tomorrow night's video. All right, so I'm going to put it back on what I had before. I kind of like the ray tracing. See, I'm a graphics guy. That's my thing. I like nice I like things to look good. And if I can get 60, I'm happy. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put ray tracing back on because the NVIDIA stuff was running at a better frame rate, but all right, let's just confirm that I got those settings there. Yeah, so, and it's interesting because, the major game platforms so far have been pretty good about it. The one thing I was not able to test was the Nintendo 3DS because when I took it out of the drawer, the battery has become a spicy pillow, so I had to get another battery for it. But so far, everybody's letting you download the games you bought. But how long is that going to go on for? Especially when platforms get upgraded or whatever. With the Xbox, the one issue you run into is that they have backwards compatibility, but not for everything. So one game that I have, one of my favorite games on the Xbox 360, at least from the downloadable variety, is Afterburner Climax, which is a Sega game. And that was never ported over in backwards compatibility because Sega lost the licensing to the airplanes that were featured in the game. So they use an F-14, an F-15, and an F-18, and they had to license the the fighter planes from the manufacturers of those planes. Think about this. You can make money making weapons, and then you can make money licensing the likeness of your weapons to video game makers. But that's what happened. Yeah, so now that we're in the game proper, and this is with that ray tracing low. Now, granted, there's not much complexity to this environment right now. That looks great, doesn't it? All right, hack the door. How do we hack the door? It shows you how much I play this game. Is there a thing I can hack the door with? Or I got to go down the hallway here. Nope, got to go back this way. Hack the door. I forgot how to hack the door. This game needs a third-person view. All right, how do I hack the door? To quickly, so quick hacking, press left button. Oh, here we go. To begin quick hacking, look at device. There's the door. And scan it by holding left button. Okay, open. Okay, so that's hit X to execute. There we go. All right, let's take a look here. Yes, I'm not very far along in the game here. So let's see what happens when we sneak up on him. I was probably not supposed to do that. I've never been good at the stealth stuff. But you get a feel for how that plays. All right. If I had more time to play this, I would play it. But I don't. So here we are. All right, how do I get out of this game now? So let's go over to database, everywhere, inventory, map, character. There's a lot here. I gotta dig into this game again. All right, let's see. I guess I probably can't get out of the game until I get through this cutscene here. I'll make quick work of these guys. The best part about things that you don't know what you're doing, sometimes you actually play better when you don't know what you're doing. But you know, my problem with video games these days is that they're all the same, right? They're all these first-person views. Did I just die? No. It's the same thing, just different scenarios. Like, I want something different. That's what I like about No Man's Sky. It's different, right? It's got a little more of a chill kind of vibe to it. This guy's got like a machine gun. He's like I'm dying now. There we go. Got him. Okay. Did I die? I'm damaged. All right, so I got to find Sandra Dorset. Whoever that is. I have health that I can take here. There we go. This is kind of like Neuromancer, right? It's got that same vibe. Cyberpunk kind of thing. And they called it cyberpunk after all. All right, so I got to find Sandra Dorset, wherever she might be. Oh, I'm rescuing her, that's right. So I got this big gun now, and I don't move very quickly. I did not mean to throw the grenade. Yeah, it does have like destructible environments too. That's pretty cool. Oh, she's over there. Okay, so we got to. She's over here. So let's go find her real quick. Sorry to bore everybody with this. I got to run in a few minutes too because I got to start cooking dinner for people. All right, so let's go back through the hole in the wall. Oh, she's maybe over here. So that's what we got to do. Hello, what can I help you with? What? Yeah, what can I do? You need something? What do you need? Hang on, everybody. This is not appropriate for YouTube. Give me a second here, everybody. All right, so I'm going to jack in here. So give me a second to finish this up. I'll come up and help you in a minute, okay? All right, so I can show you things in a second here, everybody.
Is the woman?
She's a robot.
Oh.
Yeah, but this isn't appropriate for you to look at this. So I will be upstairs in a minute. Okay?
Well, it's too late.
Okay.
Hi, humans.
Yep, that's my daughter Ellie.
Well, wait, are you going to put this in the recording?
I'm not recording right now. We're streaming.
Wait, oh.
You want to say hello to everybody?
Wait, I'm Hi, kids.
All right, I'll be up in a few minutes. All right, so where are we at here?
Hi, humans.
I got to pull a shard out of the robot here. I will soon be able to show you things again. Yeah, I found like, especially with the mini PCs in particular, you'll get these offers, right? Like somebody will say, like you'll suddenly see, like for example, there's a bunch of these Ryzen processors that are 5600Us that are going to be in a bunch of mini PCs, and I'm getting offered them constantly right now. There's like everybody and their mother's got one, so that's kind of how that works. Yeah, that's exactly it. They know exactly when to show up. Okay, so. What? It's a game.
That is not appropriate.
I know it's not appropriate. That's why I'm not showing it on the screen right now, and you shouldn't be looking at this either.
Well, I don't know.
But I have to get through this so I can get the game off the screen. All right, so I have to I'm currently carrying the
diseased body.
Yes, to the terrace here. And somebody's going to come by and pick it up, I think. Nice. Yeah. Here it is. Okay, so soon I can show you the game screen again. See, I don't play these types of games usually, so I don't know what's going on here. All right, carry Sanders to the terrace. Wait by the door to the... Stop in the doorway. Okay, I got to stop in the doorway right over here. Okay, so do that. Yes, you can ask my fans a question.
Would you guys like to have me? Wait, where's the camera?
Right there.
Oh. Would you guys like to have me do a channel where I review things? If you don't do a pic emoji, that means you don't want me to. But if you do a pic emoji, that means you do want me to.
Okay.
Or like the video.
Yep. There you go. I think they liked the one that you did. So Cooking Heaven is asking, am I using OBS or YOLO Box? I'm actually using vMix, and I have a Sennheiser microphone here that ties into my camera. If you go to my YouTube channel at Lon.TV, I have a behind the scenes that I did a while ago.
You did?
And you can see all the stuff that I'm using currently. But it's yeah, it works great. I haven't touched it in a number of years. When I find something that works, I kind of just leave it. All right, looks like I can show you the screen again. And we have to get out of here. Elevator gets us to the garage direct. So it looks like I managed to survive this this battle here. I don't need the door anymore. I took care of that. All right, so how do I switch my weapons here? Where'd my big gun go? I must have gotten rid of it. All right, so we're going to get out of here.
Chat that people saying
Yep.
something?
All right, so now that I completed this mission, I should be able to save the game.
Daddy,
Yep.
someone said, Mom, Dad was playing inappropriate. James
Randolph. Yep.
Dolph.
Yep.
Shout out to you. I like that comment.
All right. Okay, so I have to call somebody now. To access your phone, hold down.
Hold down.
I got to call Wakako Okada. Want me to make you some food in a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be up in a minute.
How long have you been hiking?
I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. Today's the Amazon Prime Day. All right.
Why is no one commenting a pig emoji?
What's that? Did you ask people to comment with pig emojis?
Yeah, if they wanted to see me do a channel where I review things.
Okay. Well, I don't know if they're into the same things that you're into.
That's really sad.
Maybe we could ask them if they're into Labubus.
Do you guys like Labubus?
Does anybody on the chat know what a Labubu is? Okay, thanks for the heads up. All right, so now we're going to get back into our car and get the heck out of here. All right, so it looks like I accomplished my first mission in Cyberpunk, even with the sound off. Okay.
I think I might have already said this in a different stream, but if you guys saw this actually, this place is the biggest mess in the entire house.
It is a big mess in here, you're right.
Why is it such a big mess?
Huh?
Why is it such a big mess?
It is a big mess because your father is very bad at organizing things because he just keeps moving on to the next project. So that is why it's such a big mess. Oh, here we go. I'm going to save game.
Why are they
Oh, I can't
saying,
save right now.
Why
Great.
are they saying yes, yes?
Oh, so yeah, Nancy says, so sadly, yes.
Why?
So what, you want to go, can you go get your Labubu and show them?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will show you all what a Labubu is. And if you value your wallet, you will learn what it is and know to avoid them. Exactly, the new school Furbies. And we have 2 of them. And then I bought some other ones that I thought I got a good deal on, but they were they were not counterfeit ones, but they were not the same Labubus that long story. Yeah, there's a lot of Gemini bloat right now, isn't there? I will say I don't use a lot of the built-in AI functions. I do use a lot of the chatbot functions. Oh, I forgot about this part. It's running great though. We're over 200 frames per second here.
I came back with a
Okay, let me show everybody what the Labubu is.
I showed them.
Okay. So put it in front of the camera. Go ahead.
There's the camera.
Right there. So that's a Labubu.
Stop spinning.
I had to. They're not easy to acquire either if you're trying to get them at the retail price.
It took a while to get this guy.
It did. It took me a long time to get that for you because I wasn't going to pay extra for it. So that's a Labubu. And you can see, I'll give you the overhead view of the Labubu. They're kind of creepy looking.
Why? It looks more creepy on the camera because
Yeah.
of the lighting.
The lighting makes them look a little bit more sinister.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they're called
can be even more creepy.
they're called the monsters. But for some reason everybody refers to them as Labubus.
Because they're all called two things. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I will be up in a few minutes.
Wait, but do the humans want me to stay or leave?
What's that?
Do the humans want me to stay? What did they want me to leave?
Oh, I'd love for you to stay. But I'm gonna shut down in a few minutes and we'll go
How long
start
have
cooking
we been
dinner.
streaming for?
About 2 hours.
Oh, that's a long time.
All right. So let's see. I need to get through this. I'm just trying to get this off my screen so I can. So we're getting pulled over by the cops now.
Why? What did you do?
We got into a gunfight.
Oh, that's a bad thing to do.
Yeah,
Don't do that at home.
that's right.
Do not do
That's why you play video games. It's escapism. You can do things in games that you can't do in real life, right?
that. And two bad things.
Yeah,
If you're a child and you play video games, do not do what the people in the video games do.
that's right.
Unless it's going to school. Go to school.
Right.
Unless you're a kid. If you're an adult who's already graduated college.
But what fun is a game where you go to school, right?
Like, they have like a school and then like, something happens with that.
Ah, I see.
Like, if something, like, just, yeah, you know.
Yeah. So the cooking heaven. The problem with the YOLO box is that it's limited in its performance capabilities. I looked at them a while ago. They sent me a bunch, and it didn't really impress me what it could do. I felt you were better off buying a laptop.
What are humans saying?
And by the way, like even something like this gaming laptop are very good for video production. Because you have a GPU, you've got the Thunderbolt port. I talked about that earlier. Everything I'm doing now, which is on a gaming desktop computer, I could easily run on this thing. You have to make some investment in hardware and stuff, but I think it'll definitely deliver better results for you.
People are saying, like, they're saying that they're gremlins.
What's that?
They're saying that they're gremlins.
They do look like gremlins.
You do not look like gremlins. Well, my other one is less creepy.
So,
This one comes with eyelashes.
and cooking, I would check and see check your cameras, what your camera's output, and then what your output resolution is,
Here's Cookie.
and what your resolution is set to
Here's Cookie.
inside the YOLO box. All right, exit car,
Oh, that's
go home.
nice.
All right, I think I can get out of this game now. I hate when they don't let you save the game in between things, because like, I'm busy. I got my kid comes down, right? And now I gotta cook dinner. Right, everybody?
Yeah.
And I want to stop and save my game. I can't do it.
I'm not very hungry, though.
Okay, then I'll
I
cook.
just came here to ask when we were making that video of
Oh, well, we got a plan. We got a plan.
I already planned it.
Okay, do you have a script and everything?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I don't have like an entire script. I have like the base.
okay.
Is that like the base? Can we make a new channel called Ellie's Review?
Yes, there were schools in there, right. You just couldn't go to the schools. You could build them. All right, let's get out of here. Go back to our apartment. Then I can save the game. We can
You need
mosey
to
on.
scroll down. People are saying more things.
Okay, hang on.
Can I do the? Oh, it's from right here. They
Yeah.
saw? Oh, I thought they started down there.
Well, that's it. See, there you go. You could manage the school as the principal. That'd be kind of a fun game, Ellie Belly, right?
Oh yeah.
You could be like the principal of a school.
This James
Randolph.
Randolph has made a funny comment and has done actually a good idea. Oh wait, why are you showing me?
I'm
Oh,
sorry. I see.
And has done a good idea.
Okay.
Shout out to the person who made whatever this comment is. Am I pointing or no?
What's that?
Why is it always you? Oh, so you go this way.
Yeah, that way. Yep, there you go.
I'm shouting up to
Good. Yeah, she's good. She likes to write. She spends a lot of time on her Chromebook writing scripts. Do you ever use AI to write or no?
sometimes I use AI to spam something or just
To spam something?
Yeah.
Like, what do you spam?
I just tell them to spam random stuff.
Spam it to who?
And then I can just copy and paste it somewhere.
Oh. Okay. Well, we should write your own things.
I do write my own.
Okay. I know you like to write.
Just whenever I text someone.
Okay.
Sometimes I do that.
All right.
All right. Are you ending the stream?
Yep.
Oh, bye, people.
Say goodbye to everybody. I'll be up in a minute. Okay. I'll be right up. Okay.
Why are you gonna be right up?
Because I got to shut everything down. Oh, your friends are still on your call there too. Why don't you go talk to your friends? Okay. This is summer vacation. We had plans. Are we not swimming? You're not swimming today, Ellie?
No, because of the thunder.
Because of the thunder? Okay. So there you go. That is the the Asus ROG Strix. Which one is this? This is the ROG Strix G16, and it is on sale today. There you go. That is your prime gaming laptop. They sent me a bunch of others, so they loaned all of these to me. So this is none of this stuff is free. There's no sponsorship here. So I'll be back probably tomorrow. I've got a Chromebook and a Windows computer. They sent me also a Snapdragon device, but the Snapdragon one didn't get reset from the last person who had it, so I can't get into it at the moment. So hopefully we'll get that going. So in any event, there you go. I did not realize we would have the imagery that we had on the screen for Cyberpunk. So hopefully there were no kids other than my own watching. Actually, this has been a big deal in schools. And I think, though, if this helps us get kids to do more critical thinking and less rote memorization, I'm all for it, right? Like when I taught my college class 2 years ago, like AI was first becoming available. And now granted, this was a production class, kind of, it was about doing the things that I do here on the channel. And we had all the kids start their own YouTube channels, essentially. And that was, I did no papers because I was like, why bother? Because they're just going to use AI. So let's get them to think about how to make something that isn't easily replicatable by AI. So that was kind of it. All right. Well, I am pretty happy with this thing. I think it's a nice mid-range gaming laptop. It's not all that loud. The performance feels pretty good. Ran Cyberpunk and the other games pretty nicely. And geez, look at that bright thing. And it's easy to get into it. So if you missed this earlier, you just snap that little lock in there and pop it open. Just opens right up. It's pretty cool. No screws needed. Screwdrivers. There you go. All right, so I will be back again before you know it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Yes, I think you're right. That's the other thing is that they call it AI, but up until a year or two ago, or 3 years ago maybe, it was machine learning, right? And it is a large language model. Although my car has AI that drives, and it's driving better every day, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, good stuff. I learned a lot from AI. But I've been doing, so when I was a kid, it is killing critical thinking, and that's a problem. When I was a kid, I had this dream of the homework machine where I could take my homework and give it to the computer and have it do the homework for me. And now we have that. Now, I haven't had my kids do this, but I have taken my kids' worksheets and I ran them through ChatGPT and Gemini. Like I took a scan of the page, and especially for some of the math that I need to help explain to her better, because they do the math differently than how I did it as a kid. And it was amazing to see these kids could, if they're not being supervised, they could just put their homework into this thing and it'll do it for them. Like it really does it. It's crazy. So in any event, it's going to change a lot and we're not ready for it and we need to be ready for it. That's my opinion. Okay. So on that note, definitely follow me, just like Cooking Heaven just did on Amazon, because I will be back with more of this stuff throughout the week. Because apparently Prime Day is no longer a Prime Day, it's Prime Week. So there you go. All right, I will catch you all on the next stream, and thank you all for tuning in. See you later. Bye.